Brewers and the Astros here at Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas. And tomorrow the Astros will be traveling to New York City for the opener against the Yankees. They'll work out Sunday and play Monday. Glad to have you with us today for this spring training finale, along with these fans. Bill Brown, Alan Ashby, Bart Ennis with you today on Root Sports as we do the final telecast of spring training 2016. And we take a look at the starting lineups for the Milwaukee Brewers, managed by Craig Counsell. Domingo Santana, the former Astro, leads it off. He's in right field with Scooter Gennett at second base. Ryan Braun bats third. He's the DH today, with Jonathan Lucroy playing first base and cleaning it up. Colin Walsh is at third with Martin Maldonado, the catcher. Alex Presley, another former Astro, is the left fielder. Yet another former Astro, Jonathan Villar, is the shortstop. And Keon Broxton is in center field.
Mike Fiers on the hill for the Astros, a guy that's going to figure prominently, especially early on, a guy that has a swing and a miss fastball that is under 90 miles an hour, averaged about 89 miles an hour last year, and that's his primary pitch. Throws the curveball, cutter, changeup occasionally. He'll mix in the slider. Mike Fiers, he of the no-hitter last year against the Dodgers.
What an exciting night that was, right in this ballpark, as he became the first Astro to pitch a no-hitter here at Minute Maid Park. And now, as he is in this number 3 spot in the rotation, a final tune-up before going in number 3 of the regular season against the Yankees at Yankee Stadium. He starts off facing Domingo Santana. .351 for Santana, including a homer and 5 runs batted in, with that OPS of .995, an outstanding spring for Santana. And that's low, ball 1. Brewers are 14-13 with 2 ties this spring. The Astros 17-11 with a couple of ties. Fastball is popped up. Tyler White, the first baseman, comes over and watches that one drift about 10 rows back.
Yeah, I think as you were talking about Domingo Santana, that power aspect of his game could be big for the Brewers. It's a good offensive yard in Milwaukee, and this young man's got some great power. Displayed a home run ability with the Astros last year to right and right center.
Fastball is up and it's 2-1. Mike Fiers, of course, as you indicated, worked his way through the Milwaukee system before the trade that brought him and Carlos Gomez to Houston last year. It's a swing and a foul ball there for a 2-ball, 2-strike count. And Mike is 30 years old now. He was born in Pompano Beach, Florida, went to Nova Southeastern College. Last year he was 7-10 with a 3.69 ERA between Milwaukee and Houston. That was a big trade between these two clubs, bringing him and Gomez to the Astros. Young, outstanding left-handed pitcher Josh Hader was involved in that deal. Adrian Hauser. We saw Brett Phillips in the game last night, all coming to Milwaukee in the trade. That one's hit to left. Colby Rasmus watching the flight of it, and he watches it go into the seats. A leadoff homer for Santana, 1-0 Milwaukee, as Santana rips his second of the spring.
Yeah, the Brewers and their fans could be looking at big things from Domingo Santana. He had quite a minor league career, but scuffled when he came to the big leagues with the Astros. A lot of strikeouts involved, but he showed that ability to hit the long ball last year a couple of times, and now it's starting to show up on a regular basis for these Brewers, but day one has not come on the season yet.
Well, Fiers is behind quickly 1-0, and now turns his attention to Scooter Gennett, 25-year-old second baseman, born in Cincinnati. His father Joe was an associate scout for the Astros when Dan O'Brien was heading up the scouting department here. Ball 1 to Scooter, who is known as Scooter, but his given name is Ryan Joseph Gennett. He cranks a line drive into the right field corner. Jake Marisnick over to play it and gets it back into the cutoff man, Altuve.
Yeah, I mentioned that swing and a miss fastball that Fiers possesses at around 88 to 91 miles an hour, and yet it's getting hung out pretty sharply right now. But there are times when hitters just never seem to get to that heater.
Ryan Braun can turn around a heater as well. 429, 1 homer, 4 runs batted in. That home run coming last night. He's just had a few at bats this spring, coming back from back surgery over the winter, and then he's had some back stiffness in spring training this year. He has the club record 255 homers for the Brewers. This one's in the air, and the right fielder Marisnik takes care of out number 1. George Springer lost a ball in the lights last night playing right field. It was the first game with the new LED lights that have been installed here at Minute Maid Park. And those lights might have been tweaked a little bit. They might be not quite as bright today. Can't really tell. It's a cloudy day outside, Ash.
Yeah, I would think they'd be fortunate if one tweaking was all that was necessary. I think before it's all said and done, they'll get the input of the outfielders, infielders alike, and make sure they have it as perfect as can be.
Looks like it might be not quite as bright. Jonathan Lucroy at 383 has had a fine spring with a couple of homers, driving in 8. Lucroy is another of those extremely important players to Milwaukee's success this year. Not only with his influence on the pitching staff as the catcher, playing first base today, but also with his bat, of course, in the cleanup spot. Looking at strike 1. Lucroy was a 3rd-round pick in 07. He went to Louisiana Lafayette. Last year, he didn't match the numbers he had set the few years before that. He had a fractured left big toe and a concussion. That limited him to 371 at bats. Fires with a quick move. White with a tag, and they make it pretty close there on Jeanette.
Never as easy for the right-handed first baseman as the lefty, but this is a nice quick tag from Tyler White.
Fires put it right there for him to make it a close play. Lucroy was an all-star in 2014. He hit .301 that year, drove in 69 runs. He fouls that one for an 0-2 count for Mike Fiers. In Mike's last outing against Detroit, he got a save, working the final 4 innings of a win back on March 27th. There had been a rainout the day before, so I believe Doug Fister was the starter that day. Both starting pitchers working just to get them back on their normal days to pitch and get everything lined up for that first time through the rotation. Foul straight back. And as AJ mentioned, Ash, when he lined up this rotation, he's looking for matchups. And the way it evolved with Fiers pitching this game today, it was a plan all along that AJ did not want a pitcher who pitched against Milwaukee in this 2-game series to be pitching at Milwaukee in just a few days on this first road trip.
Always thinking ahead. I'll tell you what, this skip right there, AJ Hinch, has so many angles that he's working on with this club. He's a bright man.
That's a foul ball. Hit hard. Lucroy a little bit out in front, but he hit it sharply off Fiers.
Yeah, we're hearing some noisy contact here in the first inning against Mike.
Well, the Astros, with that 17-11 record, have made this one of their best springs. Back in '98, they were 17-10 with 2 ties, and they went on to 102 wins that year. But there has not been a close association for this club down through the years with spring training records and regular season records. Foul back.
A little bit of a cut action at the last instant there on Fiers' heater.
We had some interesting things that occurred in last night's game, Ash. And one of those was, well, we had a couple of replay reviews.
There were
calls were overturned, right?
Right.
And then another one, and we're getting more and more confused now about this new rule on the force out at second in a double play situation.
Possibly multiple interpretations involved.
Yeah. He got him to chase, and Lucroix went down swinging.
We're not talking about what the media might think versus what the guys on the field might think. We're talking about umpires. Breaking ball right over the top on that curveball. That's a nice job by Kratz as he stays down a la Brad Osma style. One knee to the ground, the other knee stayed up, glove stayed down beautifully.
That was effective.
When you keep that glove down, the body stays still over the ball.
He just smothered that curveball. It dropped right there at his feet. Colin Walsh is the batter, the third baseman, hitting .271. He's driven in 6. Rule 5 draft choice. Pitch out, and there's ball 1.
AJ Hinch has had plenty of opportunities this spring to work the infield in, and just about every scenario you would like. How about a pitch out now being employed?
Colin Walsh is 26 years old, a switch hitter from La Jolla, California. He went to Stanford, 13th round pick of the Cardinals in 2010. He drills one to right field. That's going to one hop and go over the right field wall for a double for Colin Walsh, third hit of the inning.
Probably the best case scenario for Mike Fiers and the Astros there, as that ball does kick out of here. And again, quite noisy off the bat. And again, a fastball up in the zone. That's where Fiers lives, even when he's successful. But for whatever reason right now, that fastball not deceptive.
Well, the Brewers beat the Astros here last night 6-1. And they hit double figures in the hit column, and they're right at it early in this one with Martin Maldonado coming up next. Infield is shifted around, playing him to pull. He takes ball 1, and Maldonado will be the backup catcher. 349 for Maldonado, 1 homer, 7 runs batted in for the 29-year-old veteran from Puerto Rico. Milwaukee signed him as a free agent back in '07. He had 229 at bats last year for Milwaukee. Off speed pitch floats in for a strike. 1-1. Eric Cooper's the home plate umpire today. That's an excellent spring for Maldonado. Brewers train in Arizona, where the offensive numbers are glittering quite often. 2-1. The Astros have their first week of play on the road before opening here on the 11th of April against Kansas City. They'll play the defending world champions in a 4-game series, followed by Detroit. Out of the shift, here comes Correa to his left, and the accurate throw to White takes care of the third out. 1 run scoring on 3 hits with 2 men stranded. Milwaukee 1. Houston coming up. First inning now, the Astros come up. Line up for AJ Hinch. Jose Altuve at second base. George Springer the DH. Carlos Correa the shortstop. Colby Rasmussen left field. He had the big home run bat going last year. Carlos Gomez plays center with Tyler White at first. Luis Valbuena at third. Eric Kratz the catcher. Jake Marisnick in right field.
And as you see on the mound for the Brewers, veteran right-hander Matt Garza, now 32 years of age. Garza's been around. He's been bouncing around a number of teams. Started with Minnesota, on to Tampa Bay, the Cubs, Texas Rangers, and now the Brewers in his second season. Last year went 8-8 in 27 starts. Did a nice job in terms of holding down the hits against him. 143 in 163 plus innings.
Garza's 32 years old, from Selma, California. He went to Fresno State. First pitch to Jose Altuve is up for ball 1. Altuve has hit .275 this spring with 2 homers, 11 runs batted in. Garza gets it in for a strike. That makes him 1-1. Garza last year was 6-14 for Milwaukee with a 5.63 ERA. He spent some downtime in July with shoulder tendonitis, and they shut him down in September. Altuve has been taking a lot of pitches this spring, more so than normal. 1-2. Garza pitched a no-hitter back in 2010 for Tampa Bay when he was 15-10. Altuve out into right center field, and there's the catch on the run. One down.
I'm really curious, Brownie, pardon me for stepping on you there a bit, but watching Altuve and taking pitches now, it seems a lot more cautious in the approach. Obviously, the intent is to bring up that on-base percentage and become such a valuable guy at the top of this order. Well, we'll see how it all plays out for Jose.
Or if it continues this way come opening day, right?
Yeah, and again, we talked about it last night. A lot of guys will talk about working on things in the spring, and then come opening day, it's back to the normal deal. And for Altuve, it's been very successful.
Springer lifts it to right center. Keon Broxton there. 2 outs.
Saw Springer last night quiet with the bat early in counts and working it deep. He goes first pitch swinging this first at bat on the day.
Carlos Correa with 4 homers, 9 home runs. Comes to the plate with .372 spring average. Well, remember when the wrap-up game for spring training used to be in Florida? You guys sometimes probably had fines for guys not swinging at the first pitch on the final game of spring training, Ash.
Funny you bring that up, because I was thinking about that not only for today's game, even yesterday, but you'd hear guys hollering in the clubhouse, swing the bats, let's go. They wanted the nice quick game and time to get out and move on toward the season.
Well, when you had to travel back to Houston from Orlando, that urgency was there to get off the field. But I remember, and you might have been on this club, 2-0. I swear this happened, Ash. I could never justify it by looking it up.
Oh yeah, I'll bet just like a guy making 3 errors on one play it happened, huh?
But didn't they call a balk on Juan Augusto in the 9th inning to tie a game, the final game in spring training, when Hal Lanier was the skipper?
Oh, that may have happened. I don't remember that specifically, but it sounds like something that was deserved at the end of a spring.
Just your worst nightmare in the final game of spring training. Extra innings. 3-1. He took a close one.
I wouldn't want to be caught taking that pitch.
No. But when you're the reigning rookie of the year,
yep,
you've had a little reputation building. That is called a strike, though. So now 3-2 to Correa.
Intriguing little conversation between home plate ump and catcher.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was initiated by the catcher, maybe saying the last 2 pitches were in the exact same spot.
Yeah. He might have had a point. Struck him out, and it's 1-0 Milwaukee after 1.
Start things for Milwaukee. The Astros home opening series is April 11th through the 14th. That's against the reigning World Series champions, the Kansas City Royals. Get your tickets by visiting Astros.com or call 1-877-9-ASTROS.
This place will be rocking for that series, Ash.
Should be. And of course, Kansas City has proven themselves the last couple of years to be an excellent team, but the Astros left an impression upon the Royals, I would certainly think, last year.
Very hard fought series. Extremely enjoyable baseball. Mike Fiers back out for inning number 2, and it's Alex Presley up to face him, the former Astro. 310 for Alex with 3 homers, 11 runs batted in, and a good .420 on base percentage in the spring. Of course, the Royals do not have Johnny Cueto anymore. He's with the Giants now. There's strike one. They did retain the services of their fine left fielder, Alex Gordon, who was a free agent.
Paying him some pretty good change to hang around KC.
Yes. Rolled out to Altuve. Oh, low throw, and it gets by White. Backed up. Here's Kratz with a throw to Correa. They've got a rundown going. And it's back to White. And it's a tag out. Good play by Kratz.
That was a nice play by the catcher, hustling up the line. It's an intriguing play, and it happens to guys when they are being checked out as to how they play a position. I'm talking about Tyler White at first base. Watch Altuve, generally a guy who is accurate with the throws, but makes a poor throw here. Can White pick him and make that play work out smoothly? He doesn't, but when it's all said and done, the hustle by Kratz gets the out. But that's one that I'm sure AJ and the staff down in the dugout are evaluating right about now.
It's an error on Altuve, and then Kratz starts the 2-6-3 rundown play. Jonathan VR cuts through the fastball, and there's strike one. 196 with 3 runs batted in. It's 1-1. VR, it appears, will be the shortstop, at least for a while, for this Milwaukee club, which has an exciting young shortstop we talked about last night, Orlando Arcia. Tap to first, and White is there to take it. 2 down. So he may just be a placeholder until Arcia is ready to play in the big leagues.
Pretty talented but unproven placeholder. A guy who is a little bit like Marwin Gonzalez in the sense that from the right side of the plate, he's got legit power. From the left side, more of the quick bat slap kind of a hitter.
Keon Broxton, the center fielder, is hitting .239 with no homers, 3 runs batted in. So this will be the second series of the season. The Astros in Milwaukee next weekend, starting their interleague play early. Milwaukee will open at home against the Giants. Curveball bounces well out in front of the plate, and it's 1-1.
Well framed by Eric Kratz. I can't believe he didn't get the call on that one.
Right in the strike zone, Ash, where he caught it.
I tell you what, it's all about reputation.
Slow curve in for a strike. Well, the hitter can hit the pitch if it bounces. It counts. So why couldn't a pitcher get a strike if he's able to bounce one into the strike zone?
Yeah, that was very veteran-esque by Mr. Kratz.
That was a cricket pitch. 2-2. Broxton's 25 years old, from Lakeland, Florida. Went to Santa Fe Community College. Drafted by Arizona in the 3rd round in '09. He was with Pittsburgh, and then Milwaukee got him in a trade for Jason Rogers last December. That one goes foul. 2-2 the count. Jason Lane, the former Astro who was on that '05 World Series team, is a coach for Milwaukee this year. Jason played for the Sugar Land Skeeters as well when he made the conversion from outfielder to pitcher.
Power hitting outfielder turns pitcher.
That was quite a story.
Pretty good story is right.
The bat swung and he struck him out. That's number 2. It's 1-0 Milwaukee. With Rasmus, Gomez, and White 2 up for the Astros, who were held to just 1 run last night. Lazy day for that youngster.
Get yourself a hot dog. I don't know, a number of things to go with it. In a ball game, you got yourself a great day.
Well, it's been, of course, the usual long grind of spring training, so these players have to be absolutely thrilled to get to the end of that long process today. There's one more player move to be decided by the Astros. They have not announced it yet, and we're expecting to hear later in the day, probably after the game, who that final pitcher will be on the 12-man pitching staff.
Well, we now know it won't be Wandy Rodriguez, and so that takes 1/3 of the equation out from yesterday.
James Hoyt is still a possibility, as well as Michael Feliz. Feliz pitched last night. Rasmus has hit 3 homers. He's driven in 13 runs. He gets the curveball for strike 1. Colby has a .225 batting average. So yeah, some guys are going to be on pins and needles if they haven't already been told. who made the club and who didn't between those two pitchers, Feliz and Hoyt. Wandy may wind up going to AAA for the Astros. That's yet to be determined. He has the ability to shop his services now to all of the other 29 major league clubs because he is a free agent. By terms of his contract, he had that ability to declare himself a free agent if he did not make the Astros major league club, and he found out last night that he did not, as Ash mentioned. Had a good spring though.
Well, here's the deal. I think Wandy still at this stage of his career could impress somebody enough to say this guy can pitch in our rotation, can pitch in our bullpen, and he may find a deal out there. But it's also a bad time of year to find that when teams are trying to cut away players.
Yes, it is. Rasmus hits one foul. Upper deck, way up there.
Let's just say Colby's quick on the inside right now.
Wow. You pulled that one halfway to Beaumont. And a swing and a miss, gets a strikeout. That's 4 in a row, 5 in a row now. No, 4 in a row set down by Garza. 2 with strikeouts.
This right-hander used to throw harder, but the Brewers are counting on him to still have that success in the starting rotation.
He was a first-round pick of the Twins in '05, the 25th player drafted that year. He's won 81 major league games with 89 losses. Carlos Gomez, the former Brewer, at 184 has 1 homer and 2 runs batted in. There's strike one.
Here's what happens a lot of times when a hitter says, I'm going dead red first pitch. I'm going to get that fastball and juice it. And then you get that little slider. And you're not even close. And it's part of that aggressive style.
1-1.
But a guy that's as dangerous and aggressive of a combination as Carlos Gomez, I think he will see a lot of those sliders and something other than fastball on first pitch.
He was standing around the batting cage today before the game, and A.J. Hinch was standing there talking and making a point about this new rule we referred to earlier, and it came into play last night regarding the force out play at second base and the obligation of the base runner to slide before he gets to the base and to be able to touch the base and hold on to it. That's out to right field. Santana moving in. And he said, well, you know, what do I do when I've got this guy, and he looked over at Carlos, this freight train coming from first to second base as my base runner, and we're in Oakland where the ground is really hard and you slide past the bag because it's hard to prevent yourself from doing that on hard ground. So now if you're past second base on the outfield side, you can't reach back and touch the base. You're going to be called for a double play, and you go to Seattle and you slide and it's very wet there, so you're not going to slide past the bag. It brings up a whole new spin on this new rule and things that we're working through that could happen this year.
As if there weren't enough variables already on this play, huh?
Yeah.
It sounds like there are a number of different interpretations already, and I think it's going to be a little helter-skelter-ish start the season. I think it's going to be tough on managers to know what to expect.
Yep. 1-1 to Tyler White. What an exciting spring. Hitting .362, 2 homers, 11 runs batted in. First day in the big leagues coming up Monday in Yankee Stadium. His family and friends will be there from North Carolina. And he rips this one to tie the game. Line drive homer, Tyler White, number 3 of the spring, and it's 1-1. Welcome to Houston, Tyler White.
That is fun. It's not a regular season game. It's not his first major league home run, but that is fun. And we've kind of already seen a little bit of what we're dealing with. A guy that can swing the bat, but question marks defensively down at first base.
It's a 1-1 game as White cranks one out. He hit 14 last year between Corpus Christi and Fresno. Has not been a big home run hitter, but has a career .311 batting average in the minors with a .422 on base average. Luis Valbuena looks at ball one. But Tyler was talking with Julia Morales before the game yesterday and saying that he would like to do more damage and pick out more pitches to really try to drive this year.
Who wouldn't? But I'll say this, Brownie. He's got the strength to pull it off, and watching him take batting practice today, I could see some focus on actually trying to drive some baseballs. Now, that can be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on what a guy's working on, but he was letting it fly, and it paid off in the first at bat.
That's line foul. 1-2 to Luis Valbuena, a .282 hitter with 1 homer, 5 runs batted in.
But if you want to make it, if there are question marks about your game defensively at the corners in the infield, and you want to make it to the big leagues, you better do more than just get on base as one of those corner guys. You better drive the baseball.
That ball rocketed off Tyler White's bat into the seats. A lazy foul pop goes out of play. Still 1-2 to Valbuena. Dallas Keuchel will become the first Astro to make consecutive opening day starts since Roy Oswalt started 8 in a row from 2003 through 2010. Valbuena takes 2-2. Masahiro Tanaka will start for the Yankees. The Yankees were talking on a recent telecast about their new second baseman from the Cubs and how they think that he will do more damage for them against a left-handed pitcher. 3 balls and 2 strikes, but you know, Keuchel had such a mastery over them last year. Starlin Castro could certainly help against left-handed pitching, but they do have an imposing lineup anyway.
I don't know that I feel like Keuchel needs any help, but I would have a feeling that he's getting in the heads of the Yankees a little bit at this point.
2-out walk to Valbuena. And Eric Kratz will follow.
Valbuena just dressed up the 2-out walk here in the second inning. A little bat flip behind his back.
Okay. Eric Kratz with a .222 average, 1 homer, 1 RBI this spring, came from the Padres on Monday in that trade for Dan Straley. What would Goose Gossage think of that bat flip?
Oh, he would have an opinion.
VR's throw offline, and that allows Kratz to reach. That throw from deep in the hole, moving toward third, offline, and Lou Croy had to come off first base.
You know, this is one of the reasons he may not be playing every day as a shortstop right now. He does have a load of tools, but he had Eric Kratz, the catcher, a guy who doesn't run well at all going down the line, and instead of planting the right foot and trying to make an accurate throw, it was window dressing, and when it's all said and done, your pitcher has to face another hitter.
It's ruled an error on VR. Jake Marisnick had a bit of a sprained ankle a few days ago. He said he's fine now. That's in for a strike. Marisnick has a .163 average, 1 homer, 3 runs batted in.
Can't imagine a longtime major league infielder Craig Counsell would be able to not say anything about that last play to his shortstop.
True. Yeah, he was fundamentally sound. 0-2 to Marisnick. And he checked his swing on appeal to the first base umpire. It's verified. 1-2. The Astros leave midday tomorrow, get into New York tomorrow night, then they work out Sunday afternoon and open it up Monday afternoon, Tuesday a day off, then a Wednesday night, Thursday afternoon wrap up to that series before going to Milwaukee. That April schedule is daunting for the Astros.
Team got off to such a great start in April last year. Went 27-14 in those early games, and then, you know, clawed along the rest of the way. But it shows that whether it's early, middle, or late, every part of the schedule is important.
So there's the way it looks. Playoff team in the Yankees, playoff team in the Royals, playoff team in the Rangers in those first 3 weeks. Boston is thought to be much improved. Detroit is thought to be improved because of its health. Struck him out looking. Third strikeout. Tyler White rifles one to left field. His first home run at Minute Maid Park. It is a spring training shot, but still a very good swing of the bat to make it 1-1.
And the Astros had to face some really tough pitching themselves, but Mike Fiers came out on fire, and that high heater combined with the breaking ball and changeup put him in the record books with that no-hitter, and it also put him in the hearts of a lot of Astros fans that night.
A guy who has worked so very hard to get to the big leagues and reach that special moment with that performance. Now in a 1-1 game, he goes to inning number 3. Yeah, he did not want to allow himself to be taken out of that game no matter how many pitches he threw in that no-hitter, and he was pushing the needle too. Domingo Santana opened the game with a homer. Fouls it back, and there's strike one. Boy, that was a series for the Astros, wasn't it? With Clayton Kershaw and Zach Greinke starting 2 of those games, and the Astros swept the 3-game series.
Yeah, on paper, it looked like one of those series where you kind of gulp going into it, but when it was all said and done, the Dodgers were gulping leaving town. Exclamation point distributed out there by Mike Fiers.
Foul back for a 1-2 count. It's such a dilemma for the manager when a pitcher has that kind of a no-hitter going with a pitch count so high, not wanting to risk injury. But AJ let him go. 134 pitches. He retired 21 in a row after a 3rd inning walk to Jock Peterson.
Now, I realize it's a very different game today than it was back whenever you want to have the conversation about, but you know, the 60s, 70s, even 80s, pitchers would have strangled a manager for trying to take him out in that scenario. But such big contracts now and everything involved, it's awfully difficult on a manager.
3-2. Yeah, not wanting to deprive a pitcher of that special game is a factor, of course. Pennant race is another factor. That'll hang for a while. Altuve coming over. 1 out.
There you see Mike Fiers, and solid back 9. Yes, it was. Last 9 starts of last year. This includes the no-hitter. This starts August 2nd, I believe. I was told 9th, excuse me, and 2-1 in that span. That doesn't say a whole lot, but the 2.67 ERA tells you a load. Look at the strikeouts to walks and the hits per 9 innings. Mike Fiers was really on his game. The Astros could use much more of that now come this 2016 campaign.
Scooter Gennett is the batter. Good changeup, strike one. Nice movement by Mike. The no-hitter by Mike Fiers was the 3rd start in that stretch of the last 9. So certainly it was a standout game, but there was other excellent work there as well. He got into a good groove.
See that splitter grip as Fiers still had the baseball in his glove. That view from center field will enlighten quite a bit.
Ryan Joseph Gennett as a kid, was watching the show Muppet Babies. You ever watch that show?
That's somehow on my avoidance list, I think. Cut job right there.
That's how he got the nickname Scooter.
Muppet Babies, huh?
Yeah.
You know, I was kind of curious. I was thinking about that name last night. I can't think of a guy in another professional sport or otherwise that was named Scooter other than baseball. Of course, you had the Scooter with the Yankees.
Yeah. Phil Rizzuto. White with the toss to Fires. 2 outs. That's true. I hadn't really thought about that.
And I wondered, is that somehow a baseball name like Stretch Suba?
Could be.
Tyler White reacting. It's a nice job. Turns into a catcher down there getting dirty and making sure to keep the baseball in front. Now that kind of play will go a long way when you factor it in together with that home run swing we just saw.
Right. Because he is a work in progress at first base. He's been more of a third baseman than first baseman. Ryan Braun hit a fly ball to right. But that's very good format. You know,
yeah.
I mean, he did what he had to do. He didn't look all that graceful, but he wanted to make sure that ball did not get by him.
Well, you might have seen, you know, Keith Hernandez, and all really kind of going back too far talking to Keith Hernandez. Let's go Jeff Bagwell. He might have, with those great hands, just kind of flicked at it and came up with it cleanly. But if you don't have those hands, then you want this kind of gritty style.
Yeah. Yeah, the play went 3-1. No style points needed. And he did take that step toward the bag with the underhand toss to the pitcher.
Yeah, everything was right.
You just realize after watching these players work so much on drills during spring training that once you get in the ball game, you know, it's not a drill.
No, it is not a drill, and it's, you know, it's supposed to be a game, and when you're playing well, it is.
That's blasted to left field. Ryan Braun spanks one for a homer to make it 2-1 Milwaukee.
Like last night, Brownie, another breaking ball that gets launched by Ryan Braun. Went down for a curveball and lofted one last night. This time, slider that stays through the heart of the plate, and Ryan Braun having some fun here as he closes out spring training.
He looks ready to go.
Watch where this little slider stays right through the heart of the plate. Even on that inner third. But Ryan Braun is a great hitter, but he is destructive on breaking pitches.
Jonathan Lucroy struck out earlier. Braun looks pretty well ready to start the season right now based on last night and today.
It's kind of that, how many at bats do you need for spring training? Braun would tell you right now, oh, about 15 will do.
Yeah. Spring training is necessary, but it's not the type of baseball players play in the regular season in terms of, you know, a guy might have 50 at bats, but that's spread over a month.
Necessary evil is what I was kind of hearing in my head when you use the word necessary.
Yeah.
You know, for a lot of the guys, it becomes that way.
Correa over to White. Braun's homer makes it 2-1 Milwaukee. The home third inning, and did he ever provide some punch? 3 walk-off homers last year, Ash.
Well, the Astros were pretty good at this 9th inning heroic stuff, and Jose Altuve was the leader. Why not? Had another great year, another 200-hit campaign. He didn't waste a whole lot of distance on those game winners, but he found a way. I'll tell you what, he's become one of the game's absolutely elite second baseman. Not only offensively, defensively, he had a whale of a campaign last year.
3 walk-off hits, one of those a homer. Altuve hit a fly ball to center. But he did hit more homers last year. There's ball 1 than he has in any season in his career.
Did that make him more valuable?
That's a fair question. He hit 15. He drove in 66.
I would say yes. If he becomes more cautious at the plate, will he be as valuable? Hard to say.
Bouncer for a single for Altuve.
So this time swinging at the first strike he sees. Yeah, doesn't scald it, but finds a hole.
He's aboard for George Springer. Springer hit a fly ball to center going for the first pitch in the first inning. We were talking about George last night and the fact that many people who have watched him play expect this to be a big year for George. Last year he made a quantum leap in cutting down on his strikeouts. He made the biggest improvement in percentage of strikeouts reduced in the big leagues from 2014 through last year. Altuve takes off. He fouls it for strike one.
Well, that was hit and run. You can see Springer trying to go through that right side. I'll say this, Brownie, if Springer does have that really big year this year, it makes it so much more of a likelihood for the Astros as a team to have a big year. That's my opinion. I think the great players, when they perform in great fashion, give your team a huge lift. And in the case of George Springer, the word great in terms of talent.
Time called.
Jose Altuve looked like he's ready for the season to start in terms of the jump he just had.
Yes. Springer hit 20 homers in 2014 and 295 at bats. Fouls that one away and it's 0-2. Last year he hit 16 homers in about 100 at bats more than in 2014 in the big leagues. But his batting average climbed from 231 to 276 last year. And he had a 367 on base average. 16 homers, 16 steals. He could easily be, of course, a 2020 man. 1-2, and many people do expect that and perhaps even more from George this year.
Yeah, I'm in that more camp in terms of pure tools and talent. I could see him stretching 2020 by a wide margin.
He was a 30-30 player in the minors in 2013. First in the minors since 2009. 2-2. In fact, through his first 180 games, George has a club record 36 homers. That may surprise some people.
Yeah, I think the quick response would be maybe Jeff Bagwell.
Maybe a Glenn Davis type guy.
Yeah, there you go. Glenn Davis, another great name.
3-2. George has that combination, though. He's a 5-tool guy. Speed, power, great throwing arm. And he is a top flight fielder. He can hit for average, and he may be able to increase that again this year. Altuve goes, hits a strikeout. The throw is there early, and the tag makes it a strikeout throw out, double play from 2-4.
Well, that was a heck of a throw.
Yeah, it was a laser from Maldonado. Carlos Correa struck out looking in the first inning on a 3-2 count.
Pretty wise right there. Carlos Correa tapped himself on the chest saying, hey, that's my bad. Sorry. And actually, that goes a long way with a lot of pitchers.
1-0 to Correa, and it was announced yesterday that Houston Children's Charity and Carlos are joining their Restless for the Cause campaign, which will raise dollars to purchase beds for needy families in the Houston area. In the dirt, ball 2. The Astros have released some players from minor league camp. Travis Ballou, Jake Buchanan, and Joe Sclafani. And we were hearing that Buchanan was picked up by the Cubs.
Jake Buchanan's a guy that can help a lot of teams. I would think he's not going to overpower on the mound, but throw strikes and reliable in that regard in any bullpen, I would think. Loaded with talent, that's what happens.
This is the most wins for the Astros in an exhibition season since '07. They were 18-11-1. This would be their 18th win if they get it. 3-1.
One of the things I've heard Carlos Correa had committed to working on this spring was not swinging at the inner third fastballs toward the hands, and he took one on the 3-0 right there. Maybe just a 3-0 decision, but that's also a pitch that we've seen him launch pretty well. Anything out there within reach.
Yeah. And boy, he can go deep to all fields, as we've seen. This time it's a walk. Second walk of the game for Garza. Colby Rasmus will follow.
2 outs, nobody on base kind of scenario for Carlos Correa. To me, that's green light at all times. Go ahead and air it out.
Yep.
And we'll take the success you bring with those. The 2-out walk can lead to an inning, but it's much less likely.
One key for the Astros is that cleanup spot behind Correa. What is the production going to be?
It's key.
Ripped into right by Rasmus. Correa heads for third base. Santana fires into second. That's a sharp single. Rasmus blasted that line drive.
Quick bat, just drilling it into right. Get that pitch you're looking for. Major league hitters have a pretty good dial on that heater. Watch this throw coming in for right. It wasn't even an air out job by Santana, but you can see he's got the tools to be a right fielder.
Carlos Gomez would try to cash in here. First and third, 2 outs. Go hit a fly ball to right field in the second. Well, the Astros getting some better swings today than last night. They looked flatter than 5-day-old root beer in that game last night.
That's the way to break it out.
Foul back for strike one. You looking forward to Yankee Stadium?
I was just thinking about how much I was looking forward to that drive back home this evening. You could freshen up the pace of this game for my liking.
Well,
Friday afternoon on the highways in Houston.
Reinstitute those fines for taking the first pitch.
Now we're talking about pure baseball. And yes, Yankee Stadium is always any baseball fan's delight. I think it's kind of one of the must-sees.
Yeah. You like old Yankee Stadium better than new Yankee Stadium?
Well, they're almost the same.
Yeah.
Of course, you have to rely on memory, but there's something about that old thing, Yankee Stadium, with those monuments where they were out on the field of play. And do you like the flagpole on Towles Hill, or would you rather see it behind? I don't know. I love the old there as far as Yankee Stadium went.
Gomez strikes out, and that's no runs, 2 hits, and 2 left for the Astros. Through 3, it's 2-1 Brewers.
Accounting for all the scoring in this one so far. Brewers on top 2-1 as we move to the 4th. Well, the Astros 28-game ticket plans are on sale now. Choose a series or weekend plan for the 2016 season. For more information, go to astros.com or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. Mike Fiers out to start his 4th inning of work here. And as I toss it back up to you guys, you know, you were talking about that 9-game stretch last year where Fiers was so good. But within that 9-game stretch, there was a 4-game stretch from August 9th through August the 29th. 4 starts in there where he gave up just 2 earned runs in 27 innings pitched. That included the no-hitter of the Dodgers, another big start out in Oakland. So, yeah, when Fiers gets it going like that, boy, he's a guy that can really dominate.
Well, his delivery is rather complex, as you know, Bart, and that makes it interesting to watch him. Colin Walsh is the batter. He doubled to right field. There are a lot of moving parts for Mike on this delivery, but it's so deceptive to the hitter, the way he throws that left arm up and out. It's tough to pick up the baseball coming out of his hand.
Something about that delivery that you bring up, Brownie, where the lead shoulder, not only guys that throw the arm up in the air, but that lead shoulder goes up before the delivery, and it causes a larger move where the right shoulder has to come up and over, and it produces a fastball that hitters struggle with for whatever reason. Left shoulder up, right shoulder has to rotate and come right back over the top.
Just a little bit high, apparently. 2-1. Yeah, so everything has to be in sync with that delivery. It does not make it all that easy sometimes to put the ball where he wants.
So you see that guy that does that, and he tends to leave that fastball up quite a bit. It's just the inability to get back in time with the right side.
But it does create deception.
It does that. There's no question about it. Don Sutton was a bit that way.
Yeah.
Rick Sutcliffe, who's still around the game.
That's true. Good comparison. Struck him out looking. He mystified Walsh.
You're not looking at it as if you were a hitter, but you can see the mechanics we're talking about. And if you're delayed at all getting that right side back on top, you tend to leave it up. And we said right from the start of play tonight, Mike Fiers lives up with that fastball, and it's not 95 miles an hour, but he still succeeds.
Martin Maldonado looks at ball 1. And on the other hand, you might have a pitcher without any deception who's throwing 96, 97 and getting hit hard because the hitter just gets a little bit earlier look at that ball. That's a swing, and it's 1-1. It's amazing how tiny these things are that we're talking about, the differences.
I grew up in the game watching a guy by the name of Juan Marichal, who was one of the game's great right-handers, and he had the high leg kick. But that high leg kick, I think, also set up the high left shoulder, and I think that might have been part of that great deception he had.
Right. And Pete Rose used to say that he was the toughest pitcher he ever faced because of all the different arm angles he could use.
Of course, now Pete was a switch hitter and never had to really deal with what the sidearm delivery would bring.
Good point. It's not a good swing, and he strikes out Maldonado.
For whatever reason, that deceptive part of the game for Fiers is starting to build now from what the first inning showed.
Yes. Seems to be in a better rhythm now. Alex Presley reached on the error by Altuve, but then he rounded the bag and was thrown out between first and second on a rundown when Eric Kratz backed up the errant throw. That's a nice movement on that change.
Mix in that changeup, that pitch that comes out the same as the fastball, then you really make it tough. Curveball starts upward, and so it's a different look for the hitter.
Boy, that's an excellent point, Ash. If that hitter can see that ball out of the hand going up, he knows to stay back, get set for something more off speed. But coming out of the same arm angle, that makes it different. White again makes the play to Fiers, as he did earlier. 3-1 for out number 3. And it's 2-1 Milwaukee. 2-1 ball game. Luis Valbuena talking it over on the bench. Brewers leading the Astros. He'll be batting second. Here's the first base carousel for the Astros. since 2012. The starts at first base, we go back to Carlos Lee and Brett Wallace, and then Wallace, Carter, and Pena, Singleton, Guzman, Mark Krause, Carter, Valbuena, and Gonzalez.
Of course, you're always looking for Jeff Bagwell, but he's hard to find. And the Astros right now might be wondering, have we found something in Tyler White? I think he's trying to respond to that.
Well, you know, you made the point, and it was a really good one. He's known for his hitting, but his defensive work at first base is really going to be important. And you mentioned Jeff Bagwell, and Jeff was in camp working with Tyler and the other first baseman, and he stressed to them, hey guys, you know, you've got to help your club defensively at first base. You've got to be able to pick those throws out of the dirt. It's a very important part, especially with the pitch to contact staff and all the ground balls that this staff gets, Ash.
Brownie, I would say one of the biggest reasons the Astros were able to get into postseason play last year was because of a pitching staff that was #1 in ERA in the American League. And you don't do that if you play shoddy defense.
Right. Ball 1 to White. Home runs are great, certainly. But those defensive plays are really critical.
Look, if you can average 5 runs a game as a club, you're going to win a lot of ball games. But if you can cut down the runs that are scored on the other side down below maybe the 4 mark, and the Astros were below that figure last year, you're going to also win a lot of ball games.
Got underneath it and skied it out toward the center fielder, who lopes in. And Broxton has it, 1 out. Luis Valbuena will be coming up next. He drew a walk earlier. Mark Hamilton's watching in the Atlanta, Georgia area. Milo's son will be here for the home opener, he tells us, on the 11th with Kansas City.
You got the hotline going, huh?
Got the hotline going. Luis Valbuena drew that walk his first time up, and with that .282 average this spring, he feels he's made some progress in terms of being able to hit for a higher average. The home runs were a single season high for him as a big leaguer. There's ball 1.
Power hitting third baseman last year who played solid, if not great, defense at that place. And the only thing you can really add is starting to get on base now with that ability to hit the baseball around the park, draw some walks.
Well, as everybody knows from watching the Astros last year, they were more of a slugging team than an on-base team. Now, Luis hit .224. He had a .310 on-base average, hit 25 homers. Career .228 average.
Kind of a solemn bench right now. Is that the way it gets as you get down to the wire and get ready for opening day?
Maybe.
George Springer asking himself, when's the last time I danced in this dugout?
We get a mound visit. And let's see if Garza might be hurting because the skipper's out there. And Craig Counsell talking with the home plate umpire, and they may have to make a change here because of an injury. We'll see. 61 pitches in for Garza. Eric Cooper talking with Counsell.
Eric Cooper saying, hey, it's a spring training game. Can't we make another a different way to make this work now?
Well, one of the athletic trainers is coming out.
What's the problem? I don't know. My glove seems to be stuck to my face.
Yeah.
A lot of decisions to be made as you close out spring training. This is kind of an extra one you weren't counting on.
Are they going to try to patch him up and send him back out there?
Doesn't look that way at the moment, I would say.
No.
I imagine the larger question for Craig Counsell and the Brewers is Matt Garza going to be available for that first week of the season?
There's a little complication here. Cooper comes over to talk to A.J. Hinch and explain things to him. And the change will be made. Number 54 coming in from the bullpen for Milwaukee. And Michael Blazek will be on the mound when we come back with a score 2-1 Milwaukee.
Plans are on sale now. Pick games and great seat locations with the 15-game flex plan, or you can choose the best giveaways with the 10-game award series package. Visit astros.com/mini plans, or you can call 1-877-9-ASTROS to get yours today.
Mike Blazek has been warming up. Blazek coming in for Matt Garza. Garza went 3 1/3 innings, allowing 3 hits and a run, walking 2, fanning 5. Blazek in 9 games this spring has an ERA of 10.22.
He's worked a couple of years in the big leagues. Last year with the Milwaukee Brewers, after a 2014 campaign that did not see him pitch in the big leagues. 45 times he appeared last year for the Brewers.
He inherited the 3-0 count. There's a strike to Valbuena. Blazek is from Las Vegas.
Had some pretty impressive numbers last year. Just 40 hits allowed in 55 2/3 innings.
Ooh, 3-2. Valbuena was headed for first.
It was a bat flip that was getting ready to be
Yeah.
deployed right there.
And instead he drives one to center, but Broxton is there. 2 down. Blazek was on the 60-day DL with a broken right hand last year. Eric Kratz reached on an error back in the 2nd inning. Well, opening day starters around the majors. We know Dallas Keuchel for the Astros. Garrett Richards will be starting for the Angels. He's the first pitcher for them other than Jared Weaver to start on opening day since Joe Saunders in 2009.
Garrett Richards so impressive at times over the past couple of seasons. I was looking at some of his spring numbers though early on in camp. I didn't see what he did the second half of the camp, but didn't look like he was having great success.
Sonny Gray will start the opener for Oakland this year. Out to center field, Broxton without number 3. We go to the 5th and it's 2-1 Milwaukee. Brewers lead it. They have homers from Domingo Santana and Ryan Braun. The Astros have a long ball from Tyler White. When we look at news and notes around the AL West, Yu Darvish will not be back for probably what, a couple of months for the Rangers, but Cole Hamels begins the season in their rotation after they obtained him in a trade last year. Ash.
Liked what Cole Hamels was able to do, at least if you look at it from that Texas Rangers point of view. He was good. A lot of times those mid-season acquisitions don't live up to what they're trying to pull off, but Texas is going to be formidable, I would think, and they had a way with the Astros last year.
They were 13-6 against Houston. Rebuilt bullpen for the A's, including Ryan Madsen. And Scott Service, the former Astros catcher, is the new skipper of Seattle. Leonis Martin takes over in center field. They traded for Adam Lind, giving them another stout bat in that lineup with Robinson Cano coming off an off year and Nelson Cruz, a big basher.
They have rebuilt that staff in Seattle.
You like what they've done?
Well, on paper, I mean, it looks good. Scott Service, to me, I could see him as a real leader of men.
King Felix, of course, will be their opening day starter. Foul ball, and it's 0-2. I believe they are at Texas against the Rangers. We'll check that. That could be quite a duel. Marcus Stroman will be the Blue Jays opening day starter at age 24. 3rd youngest in their history. There's a crisp fastball and a strikeout. Andrelton Simmons is a magician. He's going to be the shortstop for the Angels.
That's a pretty big acquisition if he turns out to be the player the Braves thought he was a couple of years back. Oh, come on. He did that on purpose?
No.
I think that just kind of happened.
Yeah.
Use the force, Luke.
Wow, is that amazing?
Yeah. He is reputed to be some kind of special defensive whiz.
Broxton fouls it for strike one. Willie Peralta will be the opening day starter for the Brewers against the Giants.
It's the year of the Giants, is it not?
Madison Bumgarner, their opening day starter. Well, yeah, they like these even numbered years. We know that.
Andrelton Simmons. We've seen some highlights at shortstop, no question, but this guy's rather amazing. From deep in the hole, that's John
Whoa.
McDonald, I think. With that,
It's left field.
oh my.
That is ridiculous, isn't it? We just haven't been able to see him that much. Strikeout number 6 there for Fiers, who really has it going now. He struck out 4 of the last 5.
How'd you like to be the hitter that, and I'm not implying that somebody got thrown out on that play, but that would get thrown out on that play from rather deep in the hole at shortstop?
Wow.
Played with Rico Cardi in a day when he had very bad hamstring, but as fate would have it, he was swinging a wicked bat at the time, and they were throwing launch jobs from left field on rockets he was hitting.
Strike to Santana, who opened the game with a home run. Ernie Lombardi, the catcher for the Reds, won a batting title. He was one of the slowest guys around.
Well, that makes me think of Joe Torre.
Yeah, that's true. Joe grounded into a ton of double plays, but boy, could he hit. He hit, what, 363 one year? It's ridiculous.
Was that the year, same year, or close to when, remember Norm Cash with the Tigers hit about 361 one year.
He did.
Just out of nowhere.
But he's known for taking a table leg to the plate against Nolan Ryan.
Was that Nolan Ryan or was that Sandy Koufax?
I don't know. I thought it was Nolan.
Yeah,
2-1.
The version of that story I heard was Sandy Koufax. Either way, I've never run into a table leg in the bat rack. So, rare circumstance.
Wonder if he took any hacks in the cage with that table leg. 3-1. You ever see anybody take anything other than a bat up there to home plate?
Not effectively.
Matt Duffy's in the game at third for the Astros, replacing Luis Valbuena.
Played with Nolan for a long time. I saw a lot of bad attitudes taken to the plate.
Cubs opening day starter will be Jake Arrieta. It'll be Adam Wainwright starting for the Cardinals in their opener. Zach Greinke for the D-backs. Clayton Kershaw for the Dodgers. Bumgarner for the Giants. Corey Kluber for the Indians. He was shut out here last year by Dallas Keuchel, 2-0. In for a strikeout. Boy, striking out the side. That's 7 in the first 5 innings for Mike Fiers. 2-1 Brewers.
Here at Minute Maid, as we head to the bottom of the 5th, we want to let you know that every Wednesday night home game is Dollar Hot Dog Night presented by Nolan Ryan Beef. Enjoy all the dollar dogs you want while cheering on the Astros. Get more information by visiting astros.com/dollardogs, or you can call 1-877-9-ASTROS. Okay, now I'm hungry.
Well, Bart,
I'm distracted now, Brownie.
You and your wife went to Italy last October.
Where they do not have dollar dogs.
No, you didn't find any there?
No, but I found some great food over there.
Jake Marisnick with strike 1 from Blazek. Neuenhuis is in right field. Rivera at shortstop for the Brewers. What was your favorite? Pizza?
All the pizza was good. All the pasta, of course, is made from scratch. It's delicious. It's incredible. We had a great time over there.
I thought pizza was an American food.
They have pizza, and frankly, theirs was better. So I don't know.
So you followed in the heels of Bill Brown, and you had a great time, huh?
All I had to do was drop Brownie's name over there.
Oh yeah.
And we just got every table we wanted. Yeah, it was great.
They do welcome Americans. We found
that's
that
what
out,
I hear.
Bart?
Bart said it was a great time.
Yeah. We left a calling card for you, Ash. There's a strikeout.
Yeah, Jake Marisnick got off to a great start last year. That was an at-bat right there he'll want to forget very quickly. did not employ the good swings. Some of that
popcorn.
great food that Bart was talking about.
Altuve's 1 for 2. We just checked that Rangers opener is against Seattle, and what a dandy matchup that could be with King Felix and Cole Hamels Monday.
Where are they for that?
They're in Texas. Ball 1 to Altuve. Springer's on deck. Boy, the excitement is just building, isn't it, for these openers, and then the first week or so of play.
Well, you hope this road trip for the Astros to start things keeps them on that warm and fuzzy as they come back home to start it up. As you've mentioned, the month of April, some really good clubs opposing the Astros. And I don't think it's crucial to have a great start to the season. You can find plenty of examples where teams don't get off to great starts and still have a terrific year. But it does help.
Well, it helped a lot last year in terms of building confidence.
It did that.
3-2 now.
This is kind of the anti-Altuve at the plate right now.
He has shown some different wrinkles this spring in taking all these pitches. And he took one too many.
I'm just not sure I'm bought into this for the moment anyway.
Blazek snapped one off for his second straight strikeout. He's retired 4 in a row in relief of the injured Matt Garza. We have not had a report on Garza's injury. George Springer's 0 for 2. Fly ball and a strikeout. In for strike 1. Well, that's a tough one for a guy like Garza or anybody who goes down to the final game of spring training and has to come out with an injury.
His velocity was not dynamic at all today, but he's still a guy the Brewers need in that rotation.
New shortstop Rivera is tested and comes through. It's a 1-2-3 fifth for Blazek, and Milwaukee continues to lead Houston 2-1.
Go to the top of the 6th inning and fun being had. Dollar Dogs, not Dollar Dogs yet, but it's a good time with the Dogs. And we see what has happened over the course of the spring for the Astros. Their leaders, Carlos Correa, has had a great camp, hitting .372. He's hit the long ball, driving and runs. Jason Castro has really seen that bat heat up here toward the end of spring training, and he is currently swinging it well. That's a great sign for the season. Dallas Keuchel could not have been better. Did not allow a run over the course of the spring. 7 shutout innings. His last outing, 123 opponent's batting average against. And Will Harris kind of did the Will Harris thing that we grew accustomed to last year. So some guys are on a nice path now as we get ready for opening day.
Mike fires out with a 2-1 score. Milwaukee leading it. 6th inning begins with Scooter Gennett. Gennett's 1 for 2. Matt Garza left the game with right shoulder tightness. That announcement just made in the press box. That one's lined into left center field. 7 in a row had been set down by Mike Fiers, and 5 of the last 6 were strikeout victims until Gennett turned that one around.
We've talked at length about Ryan Braun and Jonathan Lucroy, guys who Brewers for the time being are counting on, some of their vets, but Scooter Gennett swinging the bat very well. This is not Ryan Braun, but Aaron Hill.
Well, he'd like to swing the bat like Ryan Braun did last time up when he homered. Hill looks at ball 1. He played last night. A veteran with a .220 spring average and 4 runs batted in. Yeah, he's been playing some third base, and of course a longtime second baseman as well, and we talked about it last night. His 36 home run season in '09 with Toronto, a real standout in his career. He drove in 108 that year. That pitch got in on him and he popped it up. Here's White coming over and giving way to Altuve. The shift was on and Tyler just kept coming over, but Jose moved to his left.
Altuve looks a little annoyed that Tyler White thought he needed help over there for that pop fly.
He says, "Get out of my territory, pal."
I'll take care of business. There was White kind of coming in and Altuve looking at him like, "You got to be kidding me." Did you notice the back of my jersey, what it says back there?
I catch all pop-ups. Might as well have a little fun.
Yeah, he's been informed right about now.
That's it for Mike Fiers. Very good tune-up for Mike coming out of this game with 1 on and 1 out in the 6th inning. Will Harris is on his way in with the score 2-1 Milwaukee. 2-1 ball game. Milwaukee leading Houston. The Brewers are trying to sweep this 2-game exhibition series after winning last night 6-1. Will Harris comes into the game for the Astros. He had an excellent year last year. Pitched 68 times, working 71 innings. That was 4th among relief pitchers in the American League. And he's come into spring training with an ERA of 0 through 7 games.
Yeah, that was clearly his best year in the big leagues, now with 4 years under his belt. Yeah, and I think the Astros find him in that category of we're counting on you to do big things.
Jonathan Lucroy is 0 for 2. Well, Jason Stark of ESPN is writing an article about why the Blue Jays will win the World Series.
Well, if he is, I'm betting right now that he's including the long ball that they'll hit.
Ooh. That's a bombing bunch in Toronto again this year. 2 low now. Ready to begin the season with that club, of course, and add his home run bat along with Bautista and Encarnacion and Josh Donaldson and that bunch.
I think Encarnacion might be absent at the start of the year a little bit, isn't he?
I believe so, yeah. Harris missing, goes to a 2-ball no strike count. Will, 31 years old, was born in Houston, pitched at LSU. And his baseball travels began professionally in the Colorado organization. Then Oakland claimed him on waivers. Arizona took him on waivers. And Houston was the 3rd team to make a waiver claim on Will Harris. Boy, did it ever take with the year he had last year.
What a great claim that turns out to be.
Out to center for Gomez. 2 down. How about the Red Sox decision to go with Travis Shaw at third base over Pablo Sandoval? There's a lot of stories being written right now and talk shows dealing with that change at third because of Sandoval's huge contract, and he'll be taking a spot on the Pines to open the season.
Who are you going to play, the guy that's best for your club to win or the guy that makes the most money? Unfortunately, a lot of times it's the latter. But in this case, kind of a gutsy move.
Colin Walsh. That's a foul ball, strike 1. He doubled first time up, 1 for 2. That's a big decision, though.
Sandoval didn't come to Boston in his first year last year with them in great shape, and apparently he's continued the trend.
He was packing on a lot of extra pounds when he reported this year.
It's funny how stories go, because one of the stories I had heard was that he'd shed a number of lbs and was ready to go.
It's interesting that players who spend the winter sometimes in the Dominican, Venezuela, some of the other countries, reports frequently do not get back to the big league club about what kind of condition they're in. And when they show up in spring training, and surprise.
You know, we saw early in the game Tyler White unable to corral a low throw from Jose Altuve. Altuve was charged with the error, but A play not made by Tyler White. It's amazing how this game goes, and now White twice in this inning has been challenged with low throws, even one bounce throw now coming from the hill.
Strikeout of Walsh. It's no runs a hit and a man left in the 6th inning. It's 2-1 Brewers.
We're in the bottom of the 6th inning. 2016 single game Astros tickets are on sale right now. Catch premier matchups with the Cubs, Yankees, Red Sox, and Rangers. Select games also have giveaway items like our award series bobbleheads or replica jerseys. For more information, visit Astros.com or you can call 1-877-9-ASTROS.
Well, we have a few changes, Ash, for the Brewers, including Tyler Thornburg on the mound. Bottom of the 6th inning finds Milwaukee in front of Houston 2-1, and the new second baseman is Javier Betancourt taking over for Scooter Gennett. Carlos Correa is 0 for 1 with a walk. Blazek did well, retiring 5 in a row in relief. Whoa.
Well, I'm glad there were good fundamentals on the part of Carlos Correa on that fastball running up and in. Watch him turn that lead shoulder back toward the umpire and get out of dodge. You spin the other way, and that's when those accidents happen on the hands, and I hate to even delineate some of the other spots where you can get hit.
And of course, the next pitch is outside corner at the knees. That always happens, right?
One seam caught the corner and the bottom of the knees.
Thornburg has an ERA of 8. He spins that one up for strike 2. It's 1-2.
As far as I can tell, he's really good 2/3 of the time right now.
Ground ball behind third. Here's a long throw by Walsh. Not in time. Infield hit for Correa.
Well, you hate to get pressed in spring training to have to run like that, but Correa had the answer. You sniff it right away, and it's time to go. And he can get down the line.
Correa's aboard. The Astros get hit number 4.
I bet you AJ was reluctant to watch his star shortstop go down the line on that one.
Yeah. Colby Rasmus lined a single to right field in the 3rd. He's 1 for 2. The shift is on for Colby. There's ball 1. Mike Fiers went 5 1/3 innings for the Astros, allowing 5 hits, 2 runs, no walks, 7 strikeouts, throwing 77 pitches, 51 for strikes. Blazek in his inning in 2/3 for Milwaukee had no hits, no runs allowed, no walks, 2 strikeouts. In for a strike, and it's 1-1. Two balls and 1 strike for Colby Rasmus. Thornburg pitched briefly in last night's game.
Well, the same may be true today with Luke Gregerson, going back to back with an outing yesterday.
That's into right field and bouncing and going off the wall on a hop. Correa racing to third. Gary Pettis stops him there on a double by Rasmus.
There are a number of spots in the strike zone that Colby Rasmus can handle, but down and in is pure red zone for Colby, and he's so quick.
Colby comes out for a pinch runner, Teoscar Hernandez. Big opportunity for the Astros here, trailing by 1. That was hit number 5 for them. Second and third, nobody out for Carlos Gomez, who's 0 for 2. Tyler Thornburg was born in Houston. Went to Charleston Southern University. He was drafted in the 3rd round in 2010 by the Brewers. He's 27 years old. Last year pitching 24 times for Milwaukee and 17 starts for Colorado Springs. Has a career big league ERA of 3.18. That's in for strike one. Tyler White's on deck. No balls, 2 strikes to Carlos Gomez. Liner to right, and that will get 2 runners home to give the Astros the lead. Gomez into second, and still going to third as the ball is mishandled in the right field corner. The Astros lead 3-2. The ball got hung up, and he's going to come on in, but the right fielder is indicating that ball is lodged at the base of the padding there, as you see. So that should be ruled 2 bases. But last week, when the Astros were playing the Mets, the ball was not lodged, and it wound up being an inside the park homer. That's a nice short stroke, Ash.
That's gorgeous on a pitch up and away, and shoots it that way. The Astros bats have been quiet, but suddenly waking up. Great to see for Carlos. Yeah, just because the ball's under the pad doesn't deem it or leave it deemed unplayable, but if it wedges, then you got it.
Here's a question for you.
Thrill me.
He reached in and touched the baseball.
Yeah, that's
I don't think you're supposed to get a 2-base call if the outfielder does that, are you?
So what that leads me to ask is, can you review that kind of a scenario?
Oh, good point. Strike to Tyler White. Don't know the answer to that. But I've always been told the outfielder should put his arms out and not try to reach in and touch the baseball. Once he does that, he won't get the call.
Of course, that's really a close call. Watching that ball roll under the pad, was it wedged? Right here, watch. Is it wedged?
No.
And therefore, by rule, you have to go get it. As you see that ball rolling along, that's really tough.
Yeah.
So if that ball's rolling, the umpires should call it a ball in play, right?
I think so, but Neuenhuis indicated that, well, you saw him try to reach it. He touched it. I think at that point all bets are off and the ball's in play. Right?
I would agree, but I would also say that he or George Springer over the course of the year is going to be forced to go get that ball because it's rolling along.
True. Now, the one at St. Lucie
yeah, that was very different.
involving Yoenis Cespedes, he put his hands out, but the ball wasn't lodged at the base of the wall, and A.J. Reed wound up with an inside the park homer. Struck him out looking.
Uncle Charlie came to town right there.
He is never a welcome visitor to a hitter. The bedroom is never made up for Uncle Charlie.
He shows up at inopportune times.
Matt Duffy, 167, has 3 homers, 7 runs batted in. Gomez going to third on the bounce of the shortstop, and Rivera makes the play. 2 outs.
With 1 out already on the board, that probably enabled Gomez to take third, but that play might have left an opportunity at shortstop to get the lead out.
Yep. Yeah, Uncle Charlie shows up in the middle of the night and stays for 3 weeks.
Don't you hate it when he does?
Boy.
Yeah, just when you're looking for the heater, the old dreaded uncle shows up and he'll lock you.
And he wants bacon and eggs for breakfast every morning. Eric Kratz with ball 1. Strike 1 rather. No balls, 2 strikes to Kratz. We had the uniform change coming from the Padres and his non-roster status after the Straley trade took Dan out to San Diego, and Kratz becomes the backup catcher for the opener, with Max Stassi opening on the disabled list after his hand surgery for the hamate bone. 1-2. So with Evan Gattis on the DL, he would normally be the DH on opening day, who would have been probably the number 3 starter, Lance McCullers Jr. on the DL. And Max Stassi. The Astros have 3 players who figure to be on the club not able to play for physical reasons. Here are the first few games of the season. 2-2. Well, general managers work hard in every organization all winter long to guard against those types of injuries.
Look, likelihood says that that roster is going to be fluid anyway come opening day. It just starts to move around.
Liner to left. And Duffy drives in Gomez. 4-2 Houston. As Matt Duffy comes through for Eric Kratz.
Yeah, that's nice to see for Eric Kratz, a guy who hasn't been known as a big offensive player.
Yeah, Kratz put a nice swing on that one.
Well, he got the fastball, so Charlie stayed away and cut it off. You could see the hands pull inside toward the body, get the barrel to it, and pick up a big run.
Gomez scores. We have a pitching change, and we'll be right back with a score of 4-2 Houston. Doing this throughout the spring, as we've watched on our various shots of pitchers coming out of games, and Strami working with them right there on the bench to try to review something that he might have seen that they're working on.
Strami has strong beliefs about a lot of things. One of those things he believes in is for the pitcher to get the hand, in this case with Will Harris right-handed, to get that right hand with the ball out of the glove early. He believes it sets the pitcher up to get in a good position much more easily than if the ball comes out late. And they were talking about that a moment ago. Now it looks like they've moved on to step number 2 and so on.
Jay Chapman's in the game for Milwaukee now. And Preston Tucker is the pinch hitter for Jake Marisnick, who was 0 for 2. Chapman's pitcher number 4 for the Brewers.
By the way, Brownie, you mentioned the Yankees with Andrew Miller. He has been cleared now to be available come day 1.
Okay.
That broken wrist on the other arm.
That's breaking news. Ball 1 to Tucker, or at least as close as we can come to it today. 3-0-2 for Preston with 3 homers, 8 runs batted in. Marwin Gonzalez is on deck to pinch hit for Jose Altuve if the inning continues. Tucker's had 43 at bats this spring with 13 hits. 1 for 1 as a pinch hitter in spring training. He had a couple of pinch hit homers last year. Fouling that one back. 1-1. Will Smith is down with an injury for this Milwaukee club. Hard throwing lefty who was in line to at least do some closing for them this year. That works.
See the impact of a well-thrown changeup.
Yeah. Chapman's 28 from Panama City, Florida. He has been in professional baseball since 2006. A lot of time in the minors, more than 300 appearances, 14 in the major leagues with the Cubs in 2012. It's 2-2 to Preston Tucker. And now with the injury to Evan Gattis, who had the sports hernia surgery, that opens up some playing time at DH for Tucker to do some of that. This spring, Chapman's 0-2 with a 7.71. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Changeup is really drifting, very much like Colin McHugh was having to deal with last night. Fastballs and changeups drifting to that arm side of the pitcher.
Preston's younger brother, Michael Tucker, a high draft choice of the Astros last year, is in Astros minor league camp in Kissimmee. Preston said they didn't get a chance to share a whole lot of time together this year. Well, there's a lot going on in Kissimmee right now with the Astros' 3 injured players being there, although we do know, because we've read, that McCullers will be heading for New York for the opener there. Runner going, and it's a strikeout. Now the Astros grab the lead here in the 6th inning, coming up with 3 runs on 4 hits, and they take a 4-2 advantage to the 7th. Double by Carlos Gomez, and then Eric Kratz with the RBI single. Now they give the ball to Luke Gregerson, last year's closer in 2 games this spring in 1 1/3 innings. He has a 0.75 ERA after a 31 save season last year. 31 of 36 for Gregerson with the Astros.
Yeah, he was really good, and you know, like with a lot of closers, there are some 9th innings where it's nail-biting time, but his slider's a put-away pitch, and he utilized that slide piece to great success last season.
And as you indicated earlier, he pitched briefly last night, facing 2 hitters in 1/3 of an inning. He gave up 1 hit, 1 run, but no walks and a strikeout. Allowed an RBI double to Jonathan Lucroy as he came in the 6th inning last night. So back-to-back outings here would set him up to be really cleared for takeoff, so to speak, on Monday, because AJ likes all the relievers to pitch in back-to-back games.
Back-to-back games with no aches or pains, nothing to complain about at the end of those 2 games.
Yes. Strike to Maldonado. Danny Worth is in the game at shortstop for the Astros, with Marwin Gonzalez playing second now. Correa and Altuve have checked out, and they both had excellent springs. 0-2. There's Marwin at second. He played some first last night. He can move around and play all those infield spots proficiently. Duffy's at third now as things have turned over, but White has played the whole game at first. That's Worth at shortstop. And a chance to get those regular guys who have been grinding it out a few innings early and get them all set for the opener. Gregerson snaps one off and gets a strikeout.
I don't think it is worrisome at all to see Luke turn to that slider right now, because everybody knows they're going to get it. The challenge is to handle it.
Well, we may have an injury here. Let's see. On Eric Kratz, something with the right eye is a problem.
I don't know if he's a contact lens wearer or not, but
sure looks that way, doesn't it?
There's the dirt. It looked like to me anyway. Get that out of there. Yeah. It's never fun having that clod of dirt in your eye.
Not a bit. Seeing the baseball is vital for a catcher.
Now you tell me.
Jeremiah Randall is the new head athletic trainer for the Astros. And strike to Alex Presley. Presley is 0 for 2. James Reddy back as the assistant athletic trainer this year. Jeremiah Randall joining the club. He had been with the Pirates. Well, those guys work hard, don't they? Trainers
in early. You think the players get in early. These guys have to be in there before the players. And then stay late.
1-1.
A lot like you, Brownie.
Yeah, right. Hey, we're excited about that travel day tomorrow, Ash.
Be there on time, pal. Luggage in hand.
Gregerson. 2 outs. to see the brand new Colby Rasmus red suit.
Is that going to be featured tomorrow?
Well, we'll find out. Maybe he won't break it out until opening day.
A little bit like rookie dress-up day, although nothing at all like it.
The forecast is not that good, is it?
Tomorrow's forecast, we have local rain, or were you talking New York?
More like, well, Tuesday's an off day, so that doesn't matter. But the forecast is possible snow that morning. I think for the opener, the high is supposed to be, what, between 45 and 50? That's not bad.
Well, Tuesday sounds perfect for you with the kayak.
Oh, it is perfect for kayaking around Manhattan Island, yeah. Take about 4 or 5 days to get around the island. And that'll take care of the series. 1 ball and 1 strike. And Milwaukee's going to be a little chilly too, pal.
Yeah.
What's your favorite pursuit in New York off the field? Going to a play?
You know, it's kind of changing through the years. Going to a play has not seldom happened, or not often happened for me. But
yeah,
I'm a random roamer around town.
Central Park?
Yeah, I've done that extremely at times in recent years, kind of tailing off a little bit. But yeah, I like to roam around in New York City. Provides opportunities.
Struck him out. Very impressive 7th inning for Luke Gregerson. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning, 4-2 Astros. Astros fans enjoy the day. The Astros put together that 3-run 6th inning, coming from behind to grab this 4-2 lead. And they are enjoying this 7th inning stretch at Minute Maid Park. Last spring training game. And the next time they'll be here will be for that opener on the 11th with the Kansas City Royals. Local radio personality Susie Hanks is down below us, and we just pelted her with some Cracker Jacks and peanuts and things of that kind. There's a youngster enjoying the day as well. And Blaine Boyer is warming up now for Milwaukee. He'll be pitcher number 5 for Craig Counsell.
Have you gotten enough preseason pelting in to be ready for the season?
Well, we need some more practice, don't we? Spring training for everything. Boyer well traveled, has a 8.38 ERA this spring. He was with Atlanta earlier in his career. Last year with the Twins, 3-6 with a 2.49 ERA. And it's kind of puzzling that he didn't sign until February 12th after a year like that, Ash.
You would think so, yeah. Boy, what a time of year it is for these guys that are right on the edge of making a big league club. Maybe not, maybe playing in the minor leagues, and some that you talked about guys getting released at this time of the year.
Yeah.
It's really tough.
Marwin Gonzalez gets it going. First time up today for Marwin. He takes strike 1. He has really looked good with a bat this spring.
I think he's borrowed George Brett's home run bat with the pine tar all the way up there in the heart of things.
Is that reviewable?
Not anymore.
Okay.
At one time, yes, I would say. But I think once the umpires got overruled on that one, they said, it's in your hands now. We're not touching it.
Yeah. Right off the fist, it rolls out to the shortstop in the shift. It throws him out. Well, he got severely jammed on that one.
Well, there is some pine tar on that baseball.
Oh,
Get
yeah.
that thing out of play. There. Here we go.
All right.
Let's see the
No. Oh, yeah. There it is.
course of activities with that bat.
Thought he got stuck on the top step, Ash.
He had pine tar on the shoes, too, you're saying, huh?
Yeah. Oh, man, unleashed.
Well, that bat supplied a home run for George, and it's still hanging around now for Marwin Gonzalez. You kidding me? Wait till I talk to the commissioner about this.
Roberto Pena's the batter. Looking at ball 1. First time up for him in this game. One of the Astros catchers in the minor league system. And he was being considered for the backup catcher job. He's hit 185 and 27 at bats this spring, 1 RBI. Very good defensive reputation.
Not just physically on the field, but people believe in him handling the game calling and kind of taking it off the shoulders of the manager.
Foul ball back makes it 2-1.
Watch your lips in the on deck circle.
Yes.
You know, having seen George Brett just took me a big step closer toward opening day. I feel much more ready right now.
You're charged up now. Out to center field. Two down. Broxton there for the catch. By the way, when you're walking around Central Park, try the Museum of Natural History.
I've done that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you've obviously done it.
Yeah, it's outstanding.
Done it when I've had my wife with me, and when I'm not with her, I'm more inclined to be around fast food joints.
Okay.
And I'm talking the low end of that scale.
333 for Danny Worth and a good spring with 2 homers, 7 runs batted in. So you go to New York and you eat fast food.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah.
Well, that would be like Bart going to Italy and eating hot dogs.
Well, he ate pizza. Let's go to Italy and have some pizza. Well, I guess that's where it was born, and so we'll do it right. So what do they serve in Italy? Do they serve New York style pizza?
No.
Chicago style?
No. A little bobble, but a good recovery by Rivera. Gunned the ball over to get him. We go to the 8th inning, 4-2 Houston.
4-2, and you can join Major League Baseball, New Era, and the 30 clubs as we celebrate opening day. Make sure to wear your favorite cap on April 4th and share it on social media using hashtag #CapsOn for a chance to win prizes. Opening day, so you get baseball and you get a chance to win prizes.
Well, that sounds great, Bart.
I mean, it's all good.
It is all good, and it's April 11th here with Kansas City. Should be a most exciting opener. We're getting some changes for the Astros, and one of them is on the mound with James Hoyt coming in. He's 1-0 with a 4.35 ERA in 9 games this spring, and Ash, you have commented on his stuff. He's really had some outstanding outings.
Yeah, he's gone way beyond me in impressing people. He has had one rough outing. That was his most recent outing, and he'd like to erase memories about that. But you can see, even with the one struggling outing his last time out, the numbers are decent, and James Hoyt has shown a slider that can put hitters away as well. Luke Gregerson not the only possessor of that pitch.
Danny Worth has moved from shortstop to second base. Alex Bregman is in at shortstop. Colin Moran's playing third base. And Milwaukee comes up in the 8th inning with Broxton 0 for 2. Gregerson had that 1-2-3 7th inning with the 2 punch outs. He has looked very strong. He had a lot of downtime with the left oblique problem, but has really come back nicely. There's ball 1. You know, so much is made about the closer situation on the Astros because they traded for Ken Giles, and they already had a good closer. But AJ is going to take his time with how he handles that, and we don't know when or if he'll make an announcement, but it sounds as if, and I completely agree, you know, so many managers manage to the save rule these days. Well, it would be nice to get away from that convention sometimes if the players buy in, and from what they're saying, they really seem to be for whatever's best for the team. So there might be a situation, we'll say, of the opposing team coming up with the 3, 4, 5 hitters in the 8th inning. So what's your choice? Do you want more of a strikeout type pitcher? Do you want a different kind of guy? And, you know, that's not saying that Will Harris can't come in and get strikeouts in the 8th inning either. So there are others who can do that. But there are some different directions in which AJ could turn.
But the game has gotten in that place, and it's not just in the last couple of years. It's been for a good long while where I think managers are somewhat compelled to put that pitcher who closes out games out there in the ninth inning, that guy who picks up holds in the seventh and eighth in his spot, and so on. And yet it really should be, as you're saying, where you're putting out your best guy to be able to win the ball game. Although I think a lot of argument would come back and say, well, it is our best guy in those scenarios. And that's where you want to be as a team, is have the best guys locked up for those innings.
Right. But more and more teams are turning to maybe a trio of hard throwing relievers to just lock down the game after the sixth inning, right?
Dotel, Wagner, Lidge, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, and you know, the Yankees did that this spring. They traded for Aroldis Chapman after getting Andrew Miller last year, and they have Dellin Betances. So that's a very formidable trio. The Royals did it last year.
I would say going into New York, it would be wise to take a lead through 6 innings.
That is wise. Yeah. Against that bunch. Markston strikes out. And here's Hoyt, who's right on the cusp of making this club. Going for that final spot. He and Michael Feliz. But there's all this tension and drama about the opening day 25-man roster. And 2 weeks into the season, are those same 25 players going to be on the team? A lot of times something changes.
Well, that's what I was saying about an inning ago, about how things are so fluid in terms of rosters once you get started into the season. Guys are just living and dying right now to be on that pitching staff, but it'll change.
Neuenhuis bunts, and he's thrown out 1-3. Two outs. It's 8 straight Brewers retired by the Astros bullpen. Javier Betancourt came in that big trade with Detroit. K-Rod, Francisco Rodriguez, was traded November 18th to the Tigers to become their closer. And this young prospect came in return. Hoyt has shown good off-speed stuff in addition to that fastball, which registered 93 there. Roger Clemens came to camp and worked with some of the pitchers on throwing the split-fingered changeup, or, if you wish, a split-fingered fastball. It's in essence a changeup, but it's thrown hard.
A version of a changeup. That's exactly right.
Well, that's the firepower. And, you know, most teams do this. Bring the legends into camp and the guys who are well known as stars of the game to the current players. Roger Clemens, Jeff Bagwell, Craig Biggio, Enos Cabell. And they'll get some attention.
Well, could you get a better opportunity than to talk, if you're a pitcher, with Roger Clemens about what you can do to polish up your game? And Roger's not one of those guys to shy away from helping guys.
No. Very powerful 8th inning by James Hoyt. Keeps the Astros in the lead 4-2. Day on Root Sports and also the MLB Network. Bill Brown along with Alan Ashby and Bart Ennis today. And Julia Morales getting a little time off will rejoin us for the opener in New York. Jeff Blum will be here as we get the home season underway on April 11th against Kansas City. We just got word via Twitter, Ash, that Dan Straley, the Astros traded him to San Diego for Eric Kratz, has now been picked up on waivers by Cincinnati.
Like to be his travel agent right about now? How about that kind of a deal? You pick the guy up, you trade for him, and then he becomes a waiver pickup. That seems odd.
Yeah. Well, as you know, things happen quickly at the end of spring training, so evidently the Padres were trying to juggle their roster and they lost him. He's out of options, by the way. So they lost him on a waiver claim to Cincinnati. And Cravey throws. There is ball one. Victor Roach is the new left fielder. This is Teoscar Hernandez batting in the Astros 8th. Harry Kleinman on Twitter has sent us a picture of Mount Suribachi on Iwo Jima. And that's where he is right now on his road trip, but he'll be here May 7th to see the Astros.
When is the opener there?
Not sure. It may have been 3 months ago.
Thank you for keeping us up to date on that one.
3-0.
I wonder if they have dollar dog nights there.
Well, maybe not. You may get to catch your own fish, though. Cravey gets a roller to shortstop. Rivera over to first, 1 out.
Right about now, that sounds kind of good.
Colin Moran. We were talking about him last night. He comes up for the first time and just has been so impressive, banging out line drives this spring. In 42 at bats, he's hit .357 with 3 homers, 9 runs batted in.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about Tyler White and his label. He's a hitter. He's proving himself season after season. But I'm starting to feel that way about Colin Moran.
He looks at strike one. Comes from a great pedigree, University of North Carolina, excellent baseball program. First round draft choice of Miami. The Astros got him in the big trade. And a little jam shot out into shallow left field. Caught by a retreating Rivera. Yeah, that Jared Cozart trade puzzled a lot of people when Cozart, Kike Hernandez went to Miami, but the Astros have gotten a good return. Jake Marisnick plays a world-class outfield. He was in the deal, and they got a top prospect, Francis Martes, who could be a closer here someday soon, Ash, as well as Colin Moran.
Jared Cozart came on the scene with such a bang. That great game he pitched down in Tampa Bay, and you just don't see that 95, 97 type arm very often that can throw strikes, but he started to scuffle a bit, and there's more than just the physical side that goes on in terms of what makes up trades. And we've seen Jared not fulfill yet to this point. So hopefully Colin Moran turns into a guy that makes that deal look like a good one for Houston.
Cravey misses, and the count runs to 1-1 on Tyler White, who homered in the second inning. He's 1 for 3. Here's an example of a guy who's gone out and made a ball club with his outstanding play this spring. Towering pop behind the dish. And that'll take care of the Astros' 8th inning. We move to the 9th, 4-2 Houston. Talk last night about Tommy John making 3 errors on 1 play in 1988. Here's number 1. He dropped the ball. Number 2, he throws it away. And then Dave Winfield picks it up, throws to the plate. Tommy cuts it off and throws it past Thurman Munson for his 3rd error on 1 play.
Yeah, in order for that last one to be an error, obviously somebody else had to move up 90 feet on the bases, but yeah, that's kind of a special play.
You know what? That might have been Don Slaught catching there. I said Thurman Munson. Looked more like Don Slaught since we got a chance to see it again. And now Josh Fields comes in.
It's a pretty good catcher's name, Don Slaught.
Don Slaught, yeah. Fields in 6 games this spring has a 1.80 ERA, and he's facing Aaron Hill. And throwing ball 1. Josh brought the strikeout ability to the 6th inning quite often last year, so he could be one of those guys who could escape a jam with the firepower and send the game on to the later innings like that.
He's got the blow-away arm. There's no question about it.
James Hoyt had a quick 8th inning in 1-2-3 fashion. The Astros have no hit relief in this game. Mike Fiers started. 1-2.
That was a changeup delivered by Josh Fields, but it was one that saw him slow down his arm as he delivered toward the plate. And it's, as we look at Aaron Hill yucking it up at the plate, it's something that prohibits a guy from having his very best option with a changeup.
Telegraphs the pitch a little bit. Struck him out looking.
Didn't slow down the heater, though.
No.
Yeah, that telegraph part of the delivery just leaves the hitter able to see it very easily. And the only thing you can ever say is find a grip that you trust and then trust it and throw the ball as hard as you can.
That's 13 strikeouts for Astros pitchers today. Ramon Flores is the batter. Field spots that one and gets strike one. Fiers went 5 1/3. He struck out 7. Will Harris went 2/3 of an inning. Luke Gregerson 1 inning. James Hoyt 1. They both had 2 strikeouts in their inning. Harris struck out 1 of the 2 outs he got. So it's been a firepower day for the Houston bullpen. Preston Tucker's in right field now. Derek Fisher in left. 1-2. Two balls, 2 strikes. Dallas Keuchel, after pitching the opener Monday in New York, could be slotted back in one of those Milwaukee games. So that would mean, if that were the case, that depending on how things went with Dallas on Monday, we'll say that he could come back on 4 days rest, and that may postpone the debut in 2016 of the Astros number 5 starter to later in that series. That decision to be made later. Struck him out.
Well, this is a big part of what you get with Josh Fields. He's a guy that can come in and for an inning strike out the side, can be so valuable late in the ball game.
14 strikeouts for Astros pitchers. And now it's Garcia batting. He takes strike 1.
Mixing in that off speed nicely here in the inning.
Rene Garcia trying to keep this game going, get the potential tying run to the plate. Jacob Nottingham is on deck. It's 0-2. The Brewers have not had a base runner since their leadoff man, Scooter Gennett, singled in the 6th inning. 11 straight have been retired. And he got him. What a powerful display from this Astros relief corps. And Mike Fiers, the starter, who fans 7. That is some kind of a strikeout game for the Astros. Final score, Houston 4, Milwaukee 2. The Astros wind up spring training winning 18, losing 11, and tying 2. Milwaukee winds up 14, 14, and 2. And Mike Fiers gave up 2 runs on homers in the 1st and 3rd. Then the Astros got that 6th inning go-ahead rally, and they won it. It's destination New York City as Dallas Keuchel and the Astros open the 2016 season against the New York Yankees. We'll have all the action right here on Root Sports beginning at 11:30 Monday morning. For Alan Ashby and Bart Ennis, I'm Bill Brown. The postgame show is coming your way next.